What a way to take your first win around the streets of Monaco.
Monaco is winners, oh my god.
After 5 years away, the Porsche Mobil 1 Supercup returns to Barcelona for what possibly could be a one-off due to the F1 calendar changes coming in next year. It is time to go racing around this venue once again, which has delivered us with lots of action and chaos in the Super Cup before, and we're looking to add some more memories in 2025 across this circuit that runs to 4.6 kilometers, 2.8 miles. We have 15 racing laps coming in total, and hopefully for the first time this season we'll be able to reach the 15 laps as well. 29.6 meters of elevation change, 14 turns, and it's Michael Ammermuller who has the race lap record as well. And after one of the closest qualifying sessions the Super Cup has ever seen, it landed us with a Schumacher CLRT 1 and 2 with Flint Schuring on pole position. In the commentary box, my name is Omi, delighted to be with you for the Super Cup. It's the third round of the season, and alongside me for the second time this season in the Super Cup is Tom Kent. Hi Tom.
Hello, Omi. Yes, so 2 races and 2 major first lap incidents. Well, let's hope all these can get through it safe this time, particularly Flint Schuring, who's looking to, well, he wants to try and keep as cool as possible. It is very, very hot over there, both air temperature and track temperature. I think it was something like 28 degrees earlier this morning. It wouldn't at all surprise me if that's gone up a little bit. But now we can look at the grid to see who is lined up where, Omi.
Yeah, absolutely, we can. I mentioned it was a Schumacher CLRT. We had lots of lap times deleted yesterday in the qualifying session, by the way. We had about 2 lap time deletions come in after the checkered flag for our pole sitters, and it meant that we ended the session leaving you with 0.00, the gap being nothing between our top 2. It has changed since. Keegan Masters starts in 28th position. He's alongside Gianmarco Krasmini, who will go from 27th place on the grid. 26th sees Anthony Imperato, and he's alongside Aaron Mason, looking to try and secure a good result this season. Sama Shaheen in 24th, he's alongside Pietro Deliguanti, who will go from 23rd place on the grid. The road just outside the top 20 sees Enzo Giuli alongside Hoffner. Let's see how Hoffner is going to be able to get on in this race. Nathan Schnapp, also one of our drivers, joining us. Same applies to Alexander Raymond, who goes from P19. And then we have Menendez in 18, Gus Burton in 17th place on the grid for this contest. And then it's Ariel Levy, our podium sitter in Imola, finds himself alongside Jaap van Lagen, who is going to be starting this race on 15th. Bratsky in 14th. Overhouse was one of our pole sitters yesterday in the session until he had the lap time deleted. He starts in 13th. Cass Havercourt in 12th, and then it is home favourite Ascona going from P11, and then Yanis Diak in 10th place. Dirk Schuten in 90 was our rookie winner last time out on the streets of Monaco, and then it's Alexander Tauscher in 8th. Walter Burkamp starts in 7th position for GP Elite Racing, and then it's Paul Kahepe with a great result yesterday in the session. He goes from 6th. He's alongside Marvin Clint, who was one of our causes of both races, both pileups that we had in the races in Imola and Monaco. Then it's Hugo van Eindhoven alongside Robert De Haan, our winner from last time out in Monaco. And then it is Schumacher CLRT, who lock out the front row, Alessandro Giretti, being beaten by rookie Flint Schuring, who is brother to Morris Schuring as well. We're getting ready for the formation lap, and it's the first time that we're going to go racing with this style generation of car. Of course, we were last here in 2020 in the Super Cup, which saw a red flag, Tom, on the opening lap. So we're going to be hoping that that is not going to be the case, because we want to have a clean start and we want to get through all 15 laps today in the Super Cup.
Yeah, and also we want to see some breathtaking action as well. Only 4 laps completed on the race distance last weekend in Monaco. Let's hope they can go a lot further here. Teo Overhouse starting 13th on the grid. Leader of the championship with a first and a second place. The nearest rival to him is Ariel Levy, with Cass Havicott in 3rd position despite not finishing last time out. And of course, looking out for the home heroes, Mikel Ascona in the who's coming around. He's got a 7th and a 5th place finish to his name. I think he is the only home hero here, is Mikel, so best of luck to him. Cass Havicott, starting in P12, he has some work to do, just as Theo Overhouse has. Ariel Levy is ahead of them on the grid, so he has a chance to possibly take that. Oh no, sorry, he's further back in 16th, my apologies. So he's got some work to do. So we have to say the championship leaders really at the top of the championship are kind of out of position compared to where we are used to seeing them at. So let's see how they can get on throughout the next half an hour.
Will be very interesting as well, but our pole sitter is Flint Schuring, and we can hear from him now.
I knew there were quite a good few laps, but yeah, it's so close. You know, a 10th can be the difference between P1 and P5, I think. So I'm happy that it fell right now, and I hope I keep it.
Yesterday in qualifying, the top 20 separated by something like 0.8 of a second. And considering Larry Tenfurter was taking pole positions by 0.5 and stuff like that last year, it shows you how close and competitive the Super Cup is. We are guaranteed a new champion no matter who takes it by the end of this season. Of course, Bastien Boo stepped away at the end of 2023. We've had Harry King who stepped away as well coming into this year. So is Larry Tenfurter. Theo Overhouse will be wanting a good result from 13th, so keep an eye on him. Hideka Racing, the home team, of course, as well. They are the first ever Spanish team in the Porsche Mobil 1 Super Cup, and it means they arrived into this as with their home race. They arrive into this round, so they'll be wanting to get a good result with all of their drivers by the end of today, Tom.
Yes, we've got 28 drivers heading back to the grid now at the end of this formation lap, and the Schumacher CRLT squad hoping that they can get both drivers through safe and sound. And Robert DeHaan, part of the Lechner Racer team, who have won championships in this series in the past, hoping they can add to that this season. They are sitting at the moment, looking through the team's championship, they're sitting 7th with that race win from Monaco, but all the other representatives, well, they take the best 2 results from each from the drivers to determine the team's points for each round. And so it looks like Lechner Race have got some work to do in the coming races. I'm just waiting for Keegan Masters to make his way back onto the grid as we wait to go for this final support race of the race weekend. The drivers are just cautiously crawling to the grid just to ensure they don't go over that yellow line, which determines whether you are in the correct position on the grid or not.
Absolutely, final few cars will be getting themselves into position, and starting at the back is going to be Keegan Masters. He'll be hoping that his race only can get better from there. Well, it is the 3rd round of the season. 2 races we've had so far have been shortened due to red flags and opening lap collisions. Are we going to be able to avoid that as we return to Barcelona in the Porsche Mobil 1 Super Cup after 5 years away? The green flag waves at the back. We have 3, 4, 5 red lights. And the Super Cup is underway. Great reaction time coming off the line for our pole sitter. Giretti's going to tuck in the slipstream and make his way down towards the first corner, putting the pressure on his teammate. The Schumacher CLRT cars are wheel to wheel down towards turn 1. DeHaan defending from his teammate Marvin Klin, and it's going to be the lead maintained, but a lockup coming in, and that's surely going to see Flint Schuring one outright, and Alessandro Giretti will hit the front of the field. Off the road will go Hu van Eindhoven. He'll rejoin. It's side by side between DeHaan, and he's going to be beating his teammate Marvin Klin down towards turn number 4 on the circuit, and it's going to be Giretti, DeHaan and Klin, our top 3. Klin tries to fight back, sending it down the inside of his teammate. It's wheel to wheel between the pair, and it's going to be DeHaan who hangs on to 2nd place. It is Giretti with the lead.
Yeah, Giretti reacting better at the lights there, but locked up too much into turn 1. And he's found himself back into the middle of the pack there. There goes someone on the inside there into turn 5. We're looking at Cass Havicott in the Team GB Elite car as he comes towards the king of 6 and now 7. There is the number 8 ahead of him in the pack. which he is fighting with. That has to be Dirk Schouten, who is just in front of someone running wide on the exit before camps the corner. And a lot of drivers taken to the gravel trap at this stage, but no major incidents so far, Omi, at this stage.
Tauscher was one of the cars who went off the road. It's getting super tight as Dirk Schouten finds himself ahead. We're on board with Theo Overhouse looking to try pick his way through the traffic. He's got Tauscher directly ahead. He's got Dirk Schouten to the side as well. Can he get past Dirk Schouten, sending it the long way round? Are we still going to see Dirk Schouten in there with the inside? It looks like we are going to be seeing Overhouse charging around the outside, looking further back as well. There we see Nathan Schaap making his way through. Overhouse cutting across Dirk Schouten, having to back out of it as we head down to the final corner on this circuit to come across the line, and the Lechner Racing cars are very close together. So Van Heendoven is still in 4th position. The top 3 all gaining a couple of positions as we do slipstreaming down towards turn 1. Does Marvin Klin pull out of the slipstream and go for the move on his teammate? It's wheel to wheel. Klin all out of shape, arriving down to the braking zone. Dehaan is going to go over the road. He'll find himself with good momentum when he rejoins, and still he'll be side by side with his teammate, but he'll be ahead.
Yep, so he's using the going around the correct way around the bollards on the exit of turn 2. Did Dehaan, and he has rejoined in front of Klein in 2nd place. I wonder if Klein may be on the radio to sort of ask to say, did he gain a lasting advantage? But we're right on board with Robert Dehaan, team radio.
Didn't come through.
Happy with his teammate. He's not happy with his teammate. Yeah, JB, what did you make of that race start?
Congratulations, you've made it lap 1 in 2025. Well done, they all deserve a sticker.
Yeah, we'll make sure they get that, as at the back of the field, Pietro Gelli Garanti is in the pit. So I wonder what's happened to him as well. We'll hopefully get information on that very, very shortly. But the Lechner Racing's both going for it and very nearly coming to contact. Let's hear from the driver.
Don't play each other, don't play. Go to the front. Work together, go to the front.
Interesting radios coming in from both drivers we've been able to hear from. And now let's see whether Klin's going to get a chance to make the move, or whether team instructions will take priority there, as we now look to Gelli Garanti in the pits.
Yeah, I'm not sure what is going on down there, but we're looking at Theo Overhouse dropping down the order on the timing pages. I wonder if there's been an incident involving him, unless it was just a transponder issue. We've seen that a few times actually over the course of today so far. We hope to get an up down that. Team radio again.
So desperate, mate.
Interesting. We are getting quite a few radios coming in from Lechner Racing, looking further back, arriving down to the braking zone. So that's going to be Cal Hape with his mirrors right now full of Alexander Tauscher and Theo Overhouse, who cuts over the chicane. Tauscher gets forced wide, Overhouse sends it around the outside, and they very nearly make contact as they go through turn number 3. And it's Overhouse with the wide line, and it could open the door for Dirk Schouten. Could it be another video that he can add to his vlog, maybe, if he's able to get by and send it up the inside? There's nothing between them. Cas Havercourt waiting for his opportunity, one of the drivers who we did predict to be in contention this year in the Super Cup. Are we going to see a dive bomb come in? He has a look, but the battles are going on ahead, where Overhouse still trying to make work of Tauscher.
Just looking on the onboard as they head towards turn 7 and 8. So it's nice to see that Cas Havercourt keeping up with the pack in front. And looking further, that's Stier behind in the number 29. He's currently running in 13th position. Overhouse is up to P10 from his starting position. And now we're looking at an overtake here from... is that Overhouse on the inside there? Number 16? No, it's not. It's Cal Hape, who is in a battle of his own with Alex Tauscher through turns 10, 11 and 12. And now he's fighting back. It's Cal Hape. He's through ahead of the number 14. There's a full start noted for Shaheen, I think that is, who we believe has jumped the start at the when the lights went out. So that could well be a penalty coming his way. And we're right on board with Havercourt again for the Team GB Elite squad. Is he going to be enough into the slipstream ahead of Schouten to make his move here? We'll find out very, very shortly.
Yep, let's find out. Transponders absolutely having an issue at the moment. They're all moving around the place, so loads of drivers dropping down the order and then coming back up as well. There's a move being attempted in the background. I think Kurz Mini was trying to get past Keegan Masters. That was further back in the field. It's been a dramatic start to the Super Cup. Okay, let's go back to the start, Tom.
Yeah, so Goretti reacts better to shoeing at the lights. So he's got his nose in front already before they even have gone past the timing tower that they go past. and Goretti just locks up and just carries too much speed, takes too much of a tight line into turn 1, and just finds himself exposed to the pack behind and ends up being swamped by the likes of Dehaan and Klein. This is an onboard view of Havercourt, I believe, that we are seeing. Yes, it is. So he's had a good launch, actually, thinking of it, and he's got Shelton to his right-hand side here, and he's going to be boxed in by the pack in front, and not a lot he could do about it. Having said that, he's got quite a bit of space, but I think he took to the runoff area before he joined. He did take to the runoff area, and he had to go around the 2 bollards to the left before rejoining back onto the circuit safely.
Yeah, absolutely. So quite interesting stuff right now going on. Robert Dehaan and Ascona have also been given track limits. Track limits right now a huge issue like we saw in qualifying. There is lots of them coming up as well. There we go. We get confirmation on screen of that at the moment with Robert Dehaan getting that black and white flag. Lots of drivers are getting it, so we're going to have to keep an eye. And it will be another race where our eyes are glued to the race control board, kind of like what it was in qualifying yesterday. But we're just still reviewing replays of the start and how the Lechner Racing went at it. Very nearly contact with Marvin Klin, who was trying to get by as well on his teammates at the moment as they went through turn number 3, headed down towards turn 4. A great start and a clean start, most importantly, with typical Porsche Supercup action as we expect on opening laps, where it is dive bomb left, right and centre.
Dehaan getting off to the best of starts, and we've just seen some gravel kits up. I don't think that camera has been able to last too long as far as this race is concerned. They are quite big beasts, are these Porsche 911 GT3 cars. And that's Alex Tauscher, who took to the gravel trap when he was fighting with, was that Kauherper he was fighting with, or was it Overhouse? I couldn't quite tell. This is Kauherper in this shot that we're seeing now, and there is Tauscher on the inside of, that's Overhouse actually, isn't it? On the inside of Tauscher to turn 2.
Havercourt's been noted for a turn 1 incident, leaving the track and gaining an advantage at the moment. So that's just come through with some information as well. So lap 5 out of 15 right now. Giretti has the possession of the fastest lap of the race, and he's got a 1.5 second gap.
So, but it's up the road. Dehaan has a warning for track limit. Stay on track, stay on track.
Exactly what we were just talking about as well, and mentioning track limits. They're going to be vital, so it's important that you do stay on track as we now get to some battling, and that is going to be all out of shape for Ascona, and it could open the door in a couple of moments time. Let's see, Theo Overhouse trying to get himself in the mix, and he's all over the back of Alex Tauscher at the moment, so this is a great battle as we make our way out of the 14th and final corner of the circuit. Another fastest lap being set by Alessandro Giretti. That's what the team are telling him. He may need to relax a little bit just to not risk any track limits, because he's doing well. He's got a good gap, and that is going to be critical for him as we come down towards the first corner. Doug Schuten's going to be in there as well. Are we about to go 3 wide? They'll just remain 2 wide for the moment. Schuten has a look around the outside of Overhouse, and Overhouse will maintain that position. This is what we love about Supercup racing, and it's delivering as we return to Barcelona.
Yeah, Overhouse took too much curb on the exit of the final turn, and which compromised his speed on the exit, hence why the likes of Shelton and Havercourt were able to get onto the rear of him, as opposed to going after Alex Tauscher, which he went side by side with on the exit of turn 11. And now we're on board again with Kaz Havercourt behind Shelton in the battle for P11. We've seen a few other position changes within the field as far as we know. But yes, this is the closest battle we've got that we can bring before this moment in time. As we see someone else dropping down the order, unless that is a transponder issue. It is a transponder issue, so I think it's particularly one of the mini sectors that's not quite picking up on the where the drivers are at on circuit.
Yeah, also quickly I would like to apologise. Our live timing was suggesting that there's yellow flags out across this entire race, but there is no yellow flags out. So yes, that's an issue with Porsche Supercup timings themselves, so nothing we can do at the moment, unfortunately. But yes, we will update you if there is any yellow flags, or if there is anything that does come in. Absolutely pushing right now is Kaz Havercourt with Doug Schuten directly in front of him as we make our way out of these final few corners around this circuit, and we're about to make our way down the start-finish straight. And it's the start-finish straight that usually sees a bit of great action. Schuten just able to pull himself a little bit more ahead, as you see Ascona home favourite get a 5-second penalty for track limits. We mentioned he got a black and white flag a few moments ago, and he still was going outside the white lines, meaning that he's now earned himself a penalty.
I wonder how many of these track limit penalties we're going to see during the course of this one. We have seen a few drivers been given black and white flags already. So we are into, or approaching the halfway point in this race now, and Havercourt is still stuck behind Dirk Schouten in the battle for P11. They are heading towards turn 4 once more, and it just feels like they're all in single file at the moment. No one making any major threats to move up the order. Black and white flag for the number 16, that's Karl Haupert, who is running in P7 so far. So he better be on his toes from here on in, because the next time he does get pinged for track limits, it will be a 5-second penalty. And the black and white flag for the number 4, which is Jaap van Lagen. Van Lagen, who's running in 15th position in this one. He needs to be on guard from here on in.
Yeah, also just come to the Hoop van Eindhoven's been given that as well, so it is black and white flag galore in the Porsche Supercup. That's one of the things about returning to Spain. We'll probably get a bit more of that chaos when it comes to Austria as well, which is the next round that the Supercup will be racing at. Austria is an amazing circuit for the Porsche Supercup, and along with Formula 2, Formula 3 and Formula 1 that weekend, hopefully it will be a great bit of action as we come across the line. So it was the fastest second sector for Robert de Haan last time around, but he still finds himself a bit away as we do see the black and white flag now come on screen. But we've already mentioned that in terms of Hoop van Eindhoven. As we see all of Lechner Racing watching on the pit wall and hoping and praying to see their drivers making a late charge in the second half of this race. Talking about a late charge, late dive bomb from Cas Havercourt, and he's going to get in on the way in. On the way out though, Dirk Schouten has a response. He's close to the gravel. They are going to run wheel to wheel through turn number 3. Dirk Schouten trying to keep his foot in, and now he's going to find himself all out of shape with Dirk Schouten, and it's going to give the chance to Yannis Stiak now to get up the inside into the braking zone of turn 4, wheel to wheel stuff, and Stiak gets ahead.
Now, 2 positions lost in the space of a few hundred metres there for Dirk Schouten. Down to P13 he goes. He's got Ariel Levy heading up the inside as well, and another position lost for the Dutchman.
It is not going Schouten's way at the moment, and that is going to be Levy who will make his way through, and he will promote himself up the order. And next up is going to be Jaap van Lagen, one of the veterans of this Porsche Mobil 1 Supercup racing. And we've got now coming in a bit of information of Alexander Ryman also getting the black and white flag, which if you are synced up with us you would see on the screen as well. Some great battling in the mid-pack is what we're getting right now, and directly in the mid-pack with Dirk Schouten running in 14th, and he will now try regroup and attack Ariel Levy, who's attempting to at least go on a bit of a charge. Kraus Mini has managed to make a move, and he's managed to get past Francesco Braschi as well, who drops down to 19th position.
7 laps to go then. Goretti looking good for his first win of the season after his retirement at Imola and the 3rd place finish in Monaco. This win will elevate him up the order in the standings, and what a day to do so when your rivals, the likes of Overhouse, Levy, Havercourt in the wars, well, I say in the wars, further down the order in the field. It's going to come down to consistency that decides the championship. 8 races we've got this season, we've done 2 of them already. We've just seen towards the back end of the field, fighting for position, Francesco Braschi in 19th, as you've mentioned. He's been in a battle of his own at some point in this race, and now he's just trying to stay ahead of those chasing him down through turns 4 and 5. Goretti's lead is 2 seconds then. He just needs to make sure he keeps his car within the track limits as well, doesn't he?
Yeah, Sam Shaheen will be investigated after the race for a possible false start as well. That's just come up. So that will be interesting to see post-race, and of course we'll bring you updates on that when we do return in a month's time at Austria. Looking forward to the qualifying session there, but I can imagine it's going to be dramatic like it was. We've got track limits penalty coming in 5 seconds for Alexander Ryman, exactly describing what we mentioned in terms of drivers. They will get given the black and white flag. They need to stop then with the track limits, or they will get a penalty. And we've just got confirmation of that arriving our way at the moment in time on lap number 10 now. Our race leader Alessandro Goretti has just gone on to.
not long to go in this. And we're just seeing drivers. There seems to be big gaps now between the front end. The closest in the field, really, and towards the front of the field, is Flint Schuring, who's in 5th place. He'd been overtaken by Hoop van Eindhoven. Van Eindhoven through no problem. And Schuring, I wonder what he'll be thinking at this moment in time, because he lost out at the start when Goretti went off, and well, he locked up, didn't he? Did Schuring, and was unable to maintain the lead there, and got swamped back into the pack.
Yeah, Schuring was late on the brakes on lap number 1 to maintain the lead away from his teammate, but then locked up. So then we saw, of course, him having to scatter over the road, Goretti getting his foot down, taking the lead. Ascona's been given a 5-second penalty for track limits as well. So yeah, lots of track limit penalties coming in. And I mean, we were talking about it before, but it would really be helpful if we, of course, got the penalty graphics coming on screen, because there's a lot of penalties that will be coming in, definitely across the rest of this race. Julie's been given a track limit, black and white flag as well, given to him at the moment. So it's very much a race where the drivers need to be careful. They can't really push too hard, because then they are risking the black and white flag and possible penalties coming their way. So that's something that they need to balance. It's risk versus reward stuff as they try to progress themselves higher up the order. But for a lot of these drivers, it is about scoring points now after a scruffy opening round to the season, which involved lots of our main contenders who were taken out in the start line crash at Imola. Let's just go.
Track limits, track limits. Stay on track, stay on track. 3 track limits now. I didn't respect the
Overhouse, who had his lap time deleted yesterday for track limits, having taken pole position, would have been disappointed. But yeah, then of course in Monaco, even if you weren't involved in the start line crash, the points were limited, meaning that you didn't get the gain that you needed. So for a lot of these drivers, it's now about finishing this race and scoring the most points that is possible, and getting some good points under their belt after a scruffy 2 rounds to start this season.
Well, Overhouse has been warned about track limits, and what he's got to think is those ahead of him that have got time penalties, he would benefit from them. So this is vitally important. If you're one of those who has not been penalised, you want to try and make sure that you get to the end without exceeding track limits, in the case that those ahead have got penalties of their own, which would help you elevate yourself up the order as a consequence. So that's what Overhouse will be thinking about right now, with all these track limit penalties being given out one by one. But we're into the final third of the race. Looks like we're going to get a clean finish to the fly. Not anything major we have seen so far in this one, apart from the start where Schuring went too deep into turn 1, lost out to De Haan, Klein, and eventually Van Eindhoven. And Goretti has been in a league of his own.
He really has Goretti. He's been able to control this one, and it has been a great job by him. We're just getting a message of Cash Havercock being given the black and white flag at the moment as well, but it's been a well-controlled race at the front of the field from Alessandro Goretti, who will now be ticking down the laps as he tries to control this one all the way to the end and keep it critically within the white lines. I'm expecting lots of penalties to come in post-race, but if he can just keep himself out of trouble, and actually as I just mentioned, that all track limits will be reviewed after the session, so that message has just come through as well. So if he can just keep it clean, and that will then mean that there's absolutely no chance of that happening. The first Porsche Supercup race in Barcelona took place in 1993. The series has raced here 25 times, and of course we return here after a 5-year hiatus as well. So it's great to have the Super Cup back, and great to be able to see some side-by-side action. And we're about to get a little bit of that now, as we see, pulling to the outside line. There's going to be an opportunity for Menendez to take the position. And Menendez trying to get past Julie, outside line. He's going to scatter over the road, and he doesn't go to the right side. He does. Okay, so I thought he was just going to rejoin for a moment. He does actually follow race director's instructions and rejoins in behind.
Yeah, almost like he was going to hit the bollards as well, which would have caused problems for others, really, if any of them went wide at that turn. But what job Goretti has done so far, with that healthy 2.5 second margin over the Lechner Racing of Robert De Haan. Marvin Klein, after being involved in 2 first lap incidents at Imola and Monaco, is about to get his first points finish of the season this time around. We're going to see a replay of the number 13 of Garcia going off the circuit. when he's fighting with Enzo Julie. But thankfully, Garcia rejoining safely back onto the track and not causing any problems for others. So he's back on now and he can get on with his race.
So, lap 2 turn 1 incident involving car 1, which is Robert Dehan, has been noted for leaving the track and gaining an advantage. That is the driver that currently runs in 2nd position. So that will be very interesting to see what is going to happen with that. It's currently noted. We'll wait to see whether it will be under investigation and what will happen with that. We're on lap number 13 out of 15. We have 8 minutes and 12 seconds to go on the clock, so that will all be all right, and we'll be able to get to the end of this race with ease with Giretti with nearly a 3-second gap, so he's continuing to push away. A battle going on between right now at the moment Van Eindhoven and Flint Schuring, so that's a good battle for 4th and 5th. I think Schuring they're finding himself a little bit too much far back, so he'll have to try to close in that gap. Then Borecamp's in 6th right now, 7 tenths ahead. So there's a couple of trains that have developed and a couple of battles still yet to be resolved in the final few laps, and if those drivers want to make their move, they have to start getting on with it now.
Yeah, they haven't got a lot of opportunities to get those overtakes done if they want to move up the order. Bearing in mind, it goes back to what I was saying about the track limit situation. Now, if they can just avoid being pinged for track limits or being investigated for track limits, it could help them in their cause after the race is finished. So whatever you see from this one, when the checkerflag comes out, the result is unofficial because it is subject to change in the case of any track limit penalties or anything else that would get drivers penalised for.
Yeah, absolutely. The qualifying, I mean, I thought it was quite done when we, removed so many lap times. I did mention that it was all going to change, and don't be surprised if we come onto this broadcast and it was different. Well, our pulse weren't different, but the gap was, so lap times still were deleted afterwards. It wasn't the tied pole position with, of course, Flint Schuring setting the lap first, which is why, of course, he got that position. Let's see if one can.
Great, the drop of the tires is insane. Copy that, copy that.
Mentioning about the tyres there, as well as the Lechner Racing man who won on the streets of Monaco. It was his 2nd win in the Porsche Mobil 1 Supercup when we do the overall classification, and he would have been quite happy with that one, as Marvin Klin, as I mentioned, involved in both incidents to start the season. He was the driver who was tagged around in Imola, he was the driver tagged around in Monaco, so he will be happy to get on the podium as well once again.
Bobby DeHaan, I just want to get to the end of this. Only 2 laps remaining, and let the racing are on course to get 2 drivers on the podium. Back to the kind of form we are used to seeing them in the Porsche Supercup. I don't know if we're seeing anything major on circuit at the moment. We are seeing the gaps, but we're not quite seeing anyone making any moves at this moment in time. But Giretti would have taken this kind of race at the beginning.
He absolutely would. Alessandro Giretti will be loving life, and critically, Robert Dehan, no further investigation for gaining the track and leaving an advantage, as Giretti about to make his way onto the final lap of the Porsche Mobil 1 Supercup around Barcelona, and he's on his way for what will be a great victory to properly kickstart his season. And this is the moment where the drivers absolutely love, of course, Giretti, a winner to end the season last year. He's about to become a winner once again, this time much more earlier on. It was round 8 last year, it's going to be round 3 this year, and immediately the teams watch on and all of them look on to see their drivers bringing it home now all the way to the end.
Solid effort from Alessandro Giretti. He's been around in this championship for a number of years now. He knows what it's like to be standing on the top step. Still wait to see how Taylor Overhouse gets on. Here is Taylor Overhouse. He's behind Alex Telscher still. Some of those ahead. There are a couple of drivers ahead of Overhouse at least who have got time penalties, so he would actually gain a couple more positions, which would see him in P8.
It would indeed, as he navigates and rotates the car through the final few corners, and he'll be ticking them off now, as will our race leader on the 15th and final tour around the Barcelona circuit. Well, around Spain, it can be challenging to some degree to overtake compared to what we're going to get at Austria. We knew that qualifying was important, and it was a qualifying session which had lap times deleted. It took so many contenders out of play, and it moved them down the order. It was a dramatic qualifying session, and for Giretti though, he started second on the grid, and he is going to end it as the winner as he makes his way around the final few corners on the last lap of the Porsche Supercup. Giretti is about to kickstart his season for proper this time around. The man who started in second is the first driver across the flag. He flashes the headlights as the winner in Spain. Alessandro Giretti wins for the second time in the Porsche Mobil 1 Supercup. It's Dehan in second place, and then it will be Marvin Klein who puts 2 Lecner Racing cars on the podium. The fans stand and applaud our podium sitters as we see Ascona drop down due to his time penalty across the line, and then it was Van Eindhoven in 4th. Flint Schuring gets 5th position, but the day belongs to Schumacher CLRT and Alessandro Giretti on top as they take round number 3.
Now, great drive from Giretti, 5 seconds here over Robert Dehan at the by team radio from the race winner.
What a race, mate! What a race! What? Muchas gracias, hombre! We can. Vamos! Well done. Well-deserved victory. Congratulations.
So deserved. And JB, what was your thoughts and opinions on that race we have just seen as round 3 comes to a close?
I think the yellow flag was only stuck on because nobody used it today. What a great race. Finally, a proper Porsche Supercup. 15 laps of pure brilliance.
And now he's back.
Congrats, Robert. Congrats. Great job. Oh, man. Yeah, could be press on.
Yeah, and I think after the misery of the first 2 races, it was nice to actually get a proper run in without a crash or safety car or red flag. Proper race.
I think we're saving the yellows till when we get to Austria, which is going to be quite a lot of fun. Let's hear from Clint.
Finished the race. And you finished it on the podium. Good job, Sky. Good job. Yeah, this is our first point of podium. Thank you, guys.
I mean, to be involved in both opening lap incidents, he was tagged round in both of them. And he was, of course, first driver. He was like the first driver to be tagged and spun in both of them, and that blocked the circuit. For that to be the case, and then to get on the podium, it absolutely means the world. The top 3 are about to head over to the podium as well. And Flint Schuring, while he couldn't get the overall win from pole position, it is the rookie win heading Schuring's way. And then in second place it's Yannick Stiak, and in third it's Dirk Schuiten with another podium. Superb stuff from him as the top 3 get ready to arrive into Parc Ferme, and they will do so as drivers about to go on to the podium. 2 podiums, of course, coming up in the Porsche Mobil 1 Supercup as per normal. We have the overall, and then we have the rookie. And Michele Ascona, the driver who was in his home race, he unfortunately found himself with plenty of penalties, and unfortunately it's not the race that he would have wanted. But just racing around this place, Tom, is special for a driver in his home race. To be racing on the F1 weekend, to be racing around Barcelona right before the main Grand Prix in your home track, it's absolutely special.
It's wonderful. Great to see him on the rookie podium at his home events. And there is Alessandro Giretti, the Frenchman, getting out of his car to celebrate what's been a fabulous performance and a brilliant weekend for him. Schumacher CLRT squad, it's been a brilliant weekend also for the German team, and will they carry that form into the next round in Austria? Only time will tell.
Time will tell indeed. Into the hands of his team after an extraordinary drive, of course, posing for all of the pictures. Lecner Racing there, down there to congratulate their rivals and congratulate, of course, off the circuit. Everyone is absolutely friends. The driver's also there as well to congratulate each other. Giretti takes off those gloves, as we mentioned, getting very, very hot. The circuit, the temperature right now 29.3, the track temperature is 42.7. Absolute boiling stuff down there. So to be able to finally get out of their cars after that, it is definitely quite something. As Dirk Schuiten also congratulates the other drivers as well. You've got the top 3 of the rookie classification, who are lined up directly behind the overall ones as well, and Schumacher CLRT, Tom, winning the overall class and also winning in the rookie one as well with Flint Schuring. So double trophies in terms of winning.
super weekend. They couldn't have asked for a better one. As the fans turn out in force, they know how hot it is over there. It's around about 30 degrees, I think, in Barcelona, unless it's a little bit cooler. But they should be treated for some brilliant Formula 1 action later in the afternoon. We're just waiting for the podium ceremony to arrive. Bob Consigeros doing his announcement duties as he has been doing since 1985. A big shout out to him for the job that he does, whether it be over at the Media and Technology Centre in Biggin Hill or whether it's over at the circuit. The man has been doing a fabulous job.
He really has indeed, and it's going to be quite interesting to see how it all plays out. I'm just looking at whether I've been sent the podium presenters information and seeing whether we've got that in terms of how all of that is going to be unfolding. And we now take a look at a replay of the moment where he knew he'd won, and in typical Porsche Supercup fashion, flashing the headlights. Exactly what we love to see, and he deserves that after winning the race. Sometimes they can do that. Sometimes they can do that while they're involved in battling, of course. That is something they do to catch up their rivals around other circuits. So you can also do it when you are winning in that fashion. It's something that the drivers use to their advantage that they're able to do. I've just had a look at the information I've been sent. The podium presenters for the overall and rookies, no presenters assigned by Porsche. It will be subject to the organisers, to whoever the organisers put down there. Also great to see David Coulthard having all of these the talks with everyone involved in the Super Cup. And there was of course a Legends talk with Mika Hakkinen and David Coulthard in Monaco. There's been some more talks that have gone on, and David Coulthard, great to see that he's still involved and still helping and advising all of these Porsche Mobil 1 Super Cup drivers as they race on the same weekend as Formula 1. And we're getting ready to welcome our drivers, of course, onto this special podium. And what a podium it is. And it's unmissable. It's unmissable. We're not going to get the cool down room, but it is unmissable when you are racing on the F1 weekend to not be spotted when you head onto the podium. Marvin Klin, the driver, in 3rd position, and it is Robert Dehaan in 2nd position. And our race winner, about to head to the top step for the 2nd time in the Super Cup, Alessandro Giretti, who shakes hands with everyone down there. The two drivers, the podium presenters about to present the trophy, takes off his hat and ready for the national anthem. Great to be able to hear the national anthem coming in, and it's now time for the trophies to be handed out. Of course, first of all to our race winner Alessandro Giretti, as more handshakes go on with our Lecna Racing drivers, and it's also time to be handing the trophy over to Robert Dehaan, our 2nd place finisher. I don't think there's a team representative over there as well on the podium, so that spot is currently missing. No one there from Schumacher CLRT. Robert Dehaan and his teammate Marvin Klin now being given the trophy as well. These are ones that they will absolutely want to savour forever. And then the presenters will walk off the podium and let our top 3 to it in terms of the celebrations that kick off in the Porsche Mobil 1 Super Cup. The champagne being sprayed into the faces of each other after an extraordinary round of the season. Next up, the rookie podium coming our way in a few moments time. The top 3 will make their way, and then we'll hand over to our rookies to make their way on to the podium as they get ready for their celebrations. And it's going to be, well, Dirk Schutten on there once again, but this time in 3rd rather than our rookie winner. Flint Turing at least will get a winner's trophy from today, and The trophy being collected. Yeah, don't forget your trophy, Alessandro Giretti. You want to make sure that you have it. Posing for the photos as well. But yeah, you don't want to leave that trophy to be nicked by someone else later on. As we see all of the fans in the grandstands having umbrellas out, but not for the rain, but instead to protect themselves from the sun and these hot conditions that is currently coming down in Barcelona circuit. This was a final on-track action before we get, of course, to the Formula 1 Grand Prix later on, the main event, and the battle down towards turn 1. Really excited to see how that is all going to play out. But Dirk Schuiten is the driver who finishes in third, a rookie third position once again. He's getting used to getting on the podium. This one will definitely be going as part of his vlog as well. And the young Yannick Stiak going up there as well to second position. But it is the brother of Morris Schuring, Flint Schuring, who's about to get onto the top step of the podium as everyone watches on. And it's time to hear the Dutch national anthem. The national anthem of Formula 1 coming to a close, everybody. The Dutch national anthem, as everyone watches on, and we see the trophy presented, of course, to Flint Schuring, and he'll learn after what happened on the opening lap. But I think he would have been absolutely delighted to take pole yesterday and to start on pole and maintain it down to turn 1 until he lost it. But he still found himself consistent after that, rejoining in 5th. The trophy is being presented. Dirk Schuiten talking with the other rookies on the podium at the moment. Great to always see and hear some of these conversations. And it means with the trophies presented, we kick off with a celebration once again in the Porsche Mobil 1 Supercup. And Flint Schuring, the one who is getting sprayed by the other two of Dirk Schuiten and Yannick Stiak. And then we get all set and ready for our next event, which will take place at the Red Bull Ring, and that is going to be another festival of Super Cup racing. Really excited for that one. JB, final thoughts then from this Porsche Mobil 1 Super Cup event?
Really enjoyed it. Nice to actually have a proper race, as I said earlier on as well. Brilliant from Mobil to hand to get in second position, but Alessandro Giretti as well just took off, didn't he, as well? And what a brilliant victory. And I think we're going to be in for an interesting when we get to Austria in a couple of weeks' time.
Yep, looking forward to Austria. Let's quickly run you through then our race results in the Porsche Super Cup. And it's a race result that sees Alessandro Giretti finish 4 seconds ahead of Robert Jehan, who finishes in 2nd. And then it's Marvin Klin in 3rd, Huub van Eindhoven in 4th, Flint Schuring in 5th, picking up the rookie win, Walter Burrow-Camps in 6th, and then Paul Carape in 7th, Alexander Tauscher in 8th, Theo Overhaus behind his fellow German driver in 9th, and Cass Havercourt completing our top 10. In 11th, it's Yannick Stiak. Aria Levy finishes in 12th. Dirk Schuiten gets 13th overall. Michele Scola, the home favourite, in 14th with a couple of penalties. And it's Moss, Jaap van Logge, Ryman, Kurazmini, Bransky, and Hoffner. That is your top 20. The fastest lap, of course, going to Alessandro Giretti in this race. And it's been an extraordinary race which sees Nathan Trapp in 21st, then Enzo Juni, Menendez, Burton, Shaheen, Mason, Imperato, and our only retirement was at the start where Pietro Deli Guranti pulled to the pit lane. Tom, final thoughts then from this round?
It was a decent race. As what JB has said, you know, we've got some proper running in without any interventions. And yeah, it's on to Austria in 4 weeks' time, where it will be just as challenging, and I would expect to see quite some wheel-to-wheel action. I think we'll see more of that over there compared to what we saw here in Barcelona.
Absolutely, at the very Red Bull Ring, once it's complete, we will reach the halfway mark of the Porsche Mobil 1 Supercup season, and it's been some extraordinary start with this triple header, chaos and drama in the opening 2 rounds, but some great, clean racing in round number 3, and it leaves us with Alessandro Guiretti victorious. Next up here in Barcelona is going to be the F1 Grand Prix. The lights will go out at 2 PM UK time, but it will be one for our pre-show. For the Super Cup, we will see you at the Red Bull Ring in Austria.